Okay, so this week it's QuakeCon. It's Bethesda slash id Software's showcase of all things Quake and all things adjacent to Quake. And I guess the big news, the big release is that Quake 2 has actually been remastered by Night Dive Studios. Much more than a remaster, I'd say, if we're calling Red Dead Redemption a remaster.
Oh yeah.
Much more
Hmm.
than a conversion. Man, this product is pretty astonishing, right, John?
Yeah, so it's essentially so the package itself is pretty vast. So you have the original Quake 2 campaign, you've got both of the original add-on packs, you've got Quake 2 64, which is a different original campaign, and then you have a new campaign from Machine Games, uh, which is phenomenal. It's extremely well designed. But then they've also done a lot of other cool stuff. So obviously, visually speaking, they have updated the engine, and it is running on Kex, of course, but they've made a lot of changes to sort of retain a look that is comparable and faithful to the original Quake 2, but still improving many things. And they even released a nice tech blog on this, which shows
Hmm.
some of those changes. And I'll go through this in my video, of course, but needless to say, it does actually make a general improvement, though. It does, again, kind of change the visuals in some ways over the original, which some people may or may not like. And obviously, this version does not have the RTX support. So Quake 2 RTX was kind of its own separate thing. It is GPL as well, which means they could not release this in a product that is for sale, especially
Right.
on closed platforms like consoles, right? So GPL is off limits. But we already have Quake 2 RTX that exists. Does not go away. And in fact, just like that, I believe this is free for owners of Quake 2 on Steam,
It is.
which is awesome.
It's great.
So all of that stuff is really cool, but they've also done things like updated the AI. So the AI now behaves differently. Like those I'm forgetting what are the names of the guys
Parasites? Oh
no,
no.
with the big metal arm that
What the
charge at you.
um
Whatever.
I
Those
forget
guys
their
now,
name.
and others as well, they can actually like jump and navigate the environment in new ways. Like, let's say they're up on a platform and you're running around on the ground. Before they could just shoot at you, but now they can actually leap down from there and come straight to you. The guys with the metal arms can leap across huge chasms. Like the first time I saw this, there's that room where early in the campaign, in the second like unit, where you lower this bridge into lava by pressing the button, right? You lure the enemy into the platform, press the button, he goes into lava. Well, I pressed the button too early, and he stayed on the other side of the chasm. In
Mhm.
original Quake 2, he would just basically run around in circles,
And you'd shoot him.
being very angry. You could shoot him from afar or wait, and then wait for the bridge to come back up, press the button, drops in. To my surprise, though, this time he actually leaped over the entire chasm and did an attack directly into me, which had never been done before. And I was like, what the heck? So there's a lot of surprising AI behavior, especially if you've played a lot of Quake 2. You're going to see them do things they've never done before. And that also applies to level design. So they actually went back through a lot of old Quake 2 files. They found animations, they found level data. They even found stuff like buried in post-release like Quake 3 experiments. Like in the very first level, again, I've played the first level of Quake 2 probably 1,000 times over the years. Like it's
Yeah.
just you go through it a lot, right? There's that set of windows in the first hallway when you go outside and you see like just the orange sky, the lights flooding into the room. Well, this time I saw there's geometry out there and I'm like, wait, what the heck? There's actually something out there. And I look, get closer, jumped up on the window ledge. It allowed me to do that. And then you drop outside and there's a whole new section that did not exist before that then connects to the other side outside through like a little water canal.
Oh, that's different.
And this was all stuff that was originally in the files that they essentially piled up or polished up and put it into the game. And there's a ton of little things like that that really feel special. They even have like this museum stuff. Like I was shocked by this. It's like, oh, you can watch a video of the E3 97 version of the game, the E3 demo or the ECTS demo. But then under that, they're like, play the E3 demo. So you just click on that and suddenly you can play the map and from that original E3 demo, which is super cool. So it kind of takes you through all the original like material they released, the marketing stuff. You can play the old demos, like all that stuff's buried in there. And apparently there's a ton of other like unfinished pre-release map stuff buried in there as well that you can access. And it's just packed with that. And then, like I said, the Machine Games campaign is really, really good. it pushes it way beyond what Quake 2 could have done back in the day, with large, much more geometrically dense environments that almost kind of resemble, as I showed Alex, like levels from Riddick. And, you know, there is DNA there with machine games, obviously.
Yeah.
But they also like love to throw around huge numbers of enemies, which was not feasible in the original Quake 2, given the, you know, requirements, right? You can't fill the screen with 50 enemies in Quake 2 in 97. Like, nobody's computer could run it. But they do that here. So you get this like insane experience, which is awesome. And then, of course, it also is it's also on consoles. And if you're playing on PS5 and Xbox Series X, and I presume Series S, I don't know the resolution yet. On Series X and PS5, you get native 4K, you get 120 frames per second, and some of the best, like the controls are so good. It's probably one of the best controlling shooters I've ever experienced on a controller. Like, I only played Quake 2 with a mouse and keyboard. That's how you play it. But the controls were so satisfying on console now that I was actually shocked. Like, it feels great to play it there. It's very satisfying, which was not the case with the Xbox 360 conversion included with Quake 4, which felt horrible on the gamepad.
Yeah.
And that's not even touching on things like all the reworked multiplayer. It's got full online co-op, you know, it's got crossplay. It has 8 players split screen. If you're really nuts, which I really want to test, but finding enough people and enough controllers to do that is proving challenging. I'm going to see, but it's tough. But yeah, I want to talk about that more in the video. Needless to say, you know, aside from the lack of RTX, which, you know, I understand why it's not there, and at least we still have it. Everything else about it is just, it's phenomenal. It's a really, really good release, and it feels great. And they even released the source code yesterday. So there's plenty of modding potential there as well. I think this is about the best you could expect from a modern like re-release of a game. I mean, all the stuff plus releasing the source code, like how awesome is that?
Absolutely. Wow.
Bravo.
Sounds comprehensive to say the least. What about the Quake 64 thing? It's got,
yes, I didn't even mention that. So yeah, Quake 2 on N64, totally different campaign, all original content. That's in here. They converted the maps and the data to the modern Quake 2 format, and you know, it's there, right? Like it's and it's wild to play it. Like the textures are horrible. That's how they are. They're very low res. But it's in here, and it's actually funny because the game has a lot of graphical settings, and you can of course disable texture filtering if you prefer. Original Quake 2, I would say, was designed to be played with texture filtering since it was targeting the voodoo graphics. Like that was the whole impetus behind the colored lighting and everything. But in N64 though, the textures are absolutely designed for that. Like they are never designed to be viewed pixelated, but you can turn off texture filtering and it's just the texels as big as your fist. It's insane. And it's funny because in the trailer they released announcing this, they actually showed some N64 footage, and whoever captured it with texture filtering off, which is just like, what? But
okay, wow. Does it have the accurate filtering to N64?
So that was actually one bummer. It doesn't have that. I asked about that, and apparently it needs to be. That was a very special Doom 64 specific shader that needed to be rewritten, and because all of the Quake 2 content is contained within like a unified sort of block, that implementing that is apparently tricky, or like not really feasible without Quake 2 64 being more of a separate thing. So that is the one bummer, one failing, is that they didn't replicate the N64 filtering. But to be fair, I think unlike Doom 64, which was all new assets just for that game, Quake 2 64 seems to take a lot of like PC derived assets and then just scale them down by like a huge amount.
Yeah,
so
that's
like
pretty typical.
Quarter and 1/8 resolution of the original textures.
Of the original, already not super high,
already low res
textures. Yeah.
So, and you can even you can actually turn off the colored light maps as well, which is a fun nod to the software rendered version. Because you know, if you play software Quake 2, it has no colored lighting. Right. But it gives the game a very different look, and it's cool that it's an option there to disable that. So
wow,
nice.
Good
yeah.
stuff.
The only other thing it's missing is it doesn't have native HDR support, which is a bummer. But
That's a bit surprising, I guess.
Yeah, I think so too. But at the same time, I did on PC at least, you can you can use Special K to inject HDR into it, and it actually works extremely well, like surprisingly so. So if you're playing on PC, Special K that baby up. That's good. But that's probably enough about Quake 2. It's not my favorite id Software game, but I do love Quake 2. I think it's awesome, and I've grown to love it more over time. I think it's a really cool, super polished game that plays just so darn well, even now. Like, it's just chunky, and it has like the best double barrel shotgun still.
Well, I look forward to your full video. But yeah, it sounds like we've got the salient points in this one.
Yeah.
Yes.